Alright. I think it's going. It's going. So, alright, so I was on Mike's Unboxing Discord, and I knew that the 3060 was coming out, but I wasn't so excited because first of all, I don't need it. I have a 2060 Super. But, I teach how I make a living as my job. Today, the non-TI launch of the 3060, and everybody's checking different websites and stuff to try to see what prices they're selling it at. Like, are they selling it at jacked up prices, or are they selling it at prices that are more down to earth, close to MSRP, or even if it's in stock? So yeah, I was like, even though I already knew the general where the performance was going to be based on the numbers, today all of a sudden there's lots of reviews on it, like TechPowerUP, which I'm gonna start reading those reviews right now, going over them, and just for fun, something to do. And I already watched a few videos, like Paul's Hardware, the Gamers Nexus video, Optimum Tech, and a few other ones that's just going over the 3060 just to get an idea of what they think about it. So I already know about how the hardware performs. I know I'm not learning about the hardware from them. I already based on the numbers, and if you work with hardware a lot, you already know if it's gonna be bad or good. But I do more to gauge, like, to see the angle of the YouTubers, to see, like, how they talk about Nvidia. Do they talk about Nvidia in a good light? Are they honest? That's probably more the reason that I watch the reviews. But anyway, yeah, in Mike's Discord, that's Mike's Unboxing Hardware Reviews and How Tos YouTube channel that I like to watch, and I like to like kind of part of his community. Yeah, everybody was talking about it in the Discord, and I'd say a lot of people in that Discord are they're savvy of value. They don't like to be um, get taken to the cleaners by companies like Apple and Nvidia. So most people that are in that Discord, they won't. It's like if you know a car guy, they're not going to pay $30,000 for a car that they know, isn't worth that much money. Doesn't have a good transmission, doesn't have good horsepower, all that nonsense and stuff. Yeah, most people, I'd say, they're conscious buyers. They won't pay a large amount of money for a bad product. So yeah, they were talking about it, and I think it was more out of hope. Like, is there finally going to be, like, if you wanted to build a computer for like your son or your daughter or one of your friends or something like that, or even for you for fun, people are trying to see, like, can you do that these days? You can't, because the price is so ridiculous for a performance computer, like a computer that does even like production, like video editing and stuff like that. Depends on the software. Some of them are CPU intensive, some of them are GPU intensive, but you it's like one of the main components. Your standalone graphics processor. A lot of people that want a lot of graphics power, they can't find that in an APU, an accelerated processor. With the integrated graphics, they want a standalone high powered graphics, and that means, used to just mean NVIDIA, but now it means like AMD or NVIDIA, and the prices are just ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not interested in buying a 3060, but I'm like gonna read these reviews just for fun because everybody's talking about it, and that's why I'm gonna read these right now. So here's TechPowerUP, and I guess I could just take it from the top. So let me see what they got. They got the MSI Gaming X Trio. That's funny because I'm sure the 30. Well, I don't know what's the TDP on a 3060, the regular one. It's probably about what, a little over 150. We'll see as soon as I start to review. I just want to get an overview of what they reviewed. They reviewed the MSI card. They reviewed the Zotac card, EVGA, which is usually priced the best. They usually don't go too sky high with the prices. The EVGA cards are usually a good value, so that'll be interesting to see what that's going for, if the review even says what it's going for. Because like I said before, we don't know. Everyone's like looking at websites and trying to see how much they sell them for. And pallet, which is, there's no pallet cards where I live. I mean, you get them online and stuff, but you don't see a lot of people in the United States with pallet cards. So, and there's the Fractal Design Meshify 2 compact review. I could probably go over that too because I like that. I have a Meshify C, and this is the successor to that case. So I already looked at that review and stuff, but it's a really good case if you want a case. So I'm gonna start with the MSI card here. So let me see if I got everything on the screen for you guys. I'm blocking it with my head. Let me take my head off the screen. All right, so there it is. There's the MSI Gaming Trio, and I'm sure it's gonna be. I wouldn't be surprised if TechPowerUp gives it a editor's recommended, because they recommend everything, even if it's a bad value. So anyway, I'm not gonna read all this stuff. I'm just gonna get to the nitty gritty of it. Let's see. Yeah, the MSRP. Now, if they were selling it, the MSRP, David Aiken from he's a member of the Discord on Mike's Hardware. I mean, Mike's Unboxing Discord channel. He made a good point that the suggested retail prices are not that bad. It's just the third parties that are actually selling them. The merchants, the people that carry the inventory and sell them. They're selling them for sky high prices. So if you were buying this 3060 and someone was charging $330 for it, that's not too bad, because it's real. And next gen's supposed to be better than last gen, right? Last gen, I have a last gen card, a touring card, which is a 2060 Super. 2060 Supers were going for about $400. I'm talking about United States money. $400 or $420 for a 2060 Super. Now, this new card, and the new generation is supposed to be better. This new card, the 3060, the non-TI, the MSRP is supposed to be $330. That's a lot cheaper than 2060 Super, but it has 2060 Super type performance, and it has more memory than 2060 Super by 4 gigs. That's a lot, 50% more memory. The memory bus bandwidth is a little less. It's 192-bit, whereas I believe the 2060 Super, let me see if it's listed here, it should be 256. I mean, I should know I have it. Yeah, here it is right here. That's the specs on the 2060 Super. But yeah, the performance, and we're going to look at the some of the graphs, but the performance for the 2060 Super and the RTX 3060, the Ampere versus the touring card, the performance is similar. And there's like obviously differences in the architecture. The 2060 Super, that's a 12 nanometer part. I can't remember who built that out. TSMC. I don't remember who did it for the touring cards. But for the Ampere cards, it's Samsung, 8 nanometers. But yeah, anyway, the performance is similar. But if it was the MSRP, now they have the estimated right here for the 2060 Super at $420. That is around, yeah, what I said the 2060 Supers were going for back before everything went crazy again. But see, that's still not great, because next generation is supposed to, it should be better overall. So if it's around the same price as last generation, and it's the performance is the same, I don't see what's to get excited about, what's so great about it. It has more memory. I like that. So I know some people keep saying you don't need that amount of memory. You don't need the memory. Hey, it's good to have. It's good to have, because eventually you're gonna run into a game that's gonna utilize that. But anyway, let me move on here. We're looking at the MSI card, so I'm gonna come up to another one of the things I complain about all the time. I'm getting to it. So yeah, they're going over the Ampere architecture. That's old hat. That's old news. Ampere's been out for a while. Everybody knows Let me get some water. Everybody knows about the Ampere cards and all that stuff. Put my dumb head back on the screen because I'm not blocking too much stuff. Yeah, let me yeah, the Ampere architecture, you can read about that. The CUDA cores, or the shaders, the shading, the streaming processors, whatever you want to call them, on these cards. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a lot more shaders on the Ampere cards, but they seem, and someone could probably word it a little bit better than me, but they seem a little bit more anemic. Like when you said, like it felt like, it feels like 2000 streaming processors on a touring card does more than 2000 streaming processors on an Ampere card, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes sense. I feel like they have a lot more streaming processors on the Ampere cards, but it doesn't correlate as to a big as a performance boost as you would expect on having that many CUDA cores on a touring card. So let's go to the pictures and teardown. This is where I'm gonna complain, because video cards, even though this is gonna be way more expensive than an MSRP. The MSRP is supposed to be $330, but you know it's gonna cost $400 or more, and they're gonna give you, MSI is gonna give you a plastic backplate. Now let me see. Let me go back to that first page and see if they show the TDP on it, and I'll go back to the teardown. Did they list it here? No, it's not listed here. Let me go back to the teardown. I want to find out what the TDP is, because I'm sure it's for the performance, probably not the hottest running card, but still, if you pay a couple of $100s for a video card, man, just put a metal backplate on. It'll be cheap. But I'm sure MSI put their graphite backplate, which is really plastic. So let's look at some pictures. Yeah, looks like all the rest of their cards. I hate that you can't scroll through the pictures on TPU, so I'll go through them like this. There's the back. It looks like it's, I forget the names of those caps. It's just a few ceramics and a few of the other ones. I forget what they're called. SPP or some shit. Excuse my language. There's the side view. Just black and gray, your standard MSI card. It's a 3060 card. A 3060 card that's over 30 centimeters. That's over 1 foot for everybody who measures everything in freedom units. That's a, let me see. Man, that's a 3060 card. Barely would fit in my Meshify C case. So that's a big card for what's supposed to be mid-range or lower end. But yeah, that's a big boy. You know, that's usually what the 2080s and the 2070s is supposed to be, that size. So they weighed it. It's 1,400 grams, I guess. Yeah, 1,480 grams according to this right here. That's pretty damn heavy. That's really heavy. So yeah, that's a lot of video card and a lot of cooling for a GPU that shouldn't get that hot. I'm curious to see what the TDP is on it, but I'll find out in this review. Pretty sure it's probably between 150 and 180, because my 2060 Super, I think, is 150. So this can't be too much more. I mean, it has 50% more RAM, so there's got to be power for that, right? What's this? Why are they showing a close-up of this picture? Oh, they're showing the two 8-pin connectors. That's one thing, like my 2060 Super, right? They have similar specs as far as performance, but my card only takes one 8-pin. This takes two 8-pins, so that's another tedious thing. More cables, and you need a power supply that has preferably two separate PCI Express 8-pin cables for that. Doesn't support SLI. Who cares? Nobody uses SLI. Here's the teardown. There's the shroud with the fans attached to it. Now I will say I like about the MSI cards, they always run cool and quiet and low RPMs. So even if it's a plastic backplate, they usually fit the bill as far as people who like quiet. So there you go. It's a 3060. That is a hulking heatsink. That's a big, heavy looking heatsink. You know, they weighed the card 1,480 grams. It's heavy. That's a lot of aluminum. So yeah, the card's expensive, but at least they didn't skimp on the cooling. That's a lot of aluminum. They got the what is it? The heat pads in all the right spots. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heat pipes going to the GPU. So yeah, I'm sure this is cooling everything good. The RAM, the GPU, the memory. I mean the VRMs. I already said the memory. I forget what I said. VRMs, memory, GPU. They're all being cooled. As long as there's no super hot spots or trapping heat or nothing's like touching anything to take heat off it, they do a good job of that. There's some of the heat pads right there. You can see some of the BGA chips from the memory like embedded into it. You see those squares. And here's another good thing MSI does. I don't know if all the other manufacturers started to do this, but they got this support bracket right here. It really helps the card not sag. It runs the length of the PCB and it's attached to the PCI. Yeah, the PCI slot bracket, and it really holds the card in place. My card has that. I love it. It doesn't sag or droop at all, so you don't have to worry about that if you buy an MSI card. And I'm not sticking up for MSI. I bash MSI all the time. So here's the back plate. You paid over $300, but in reality, you're going to pay over $400 if you're going to get one of these. And that's what you get. You get a plastic back plate. And I don't know what this is right here. I'm assuming that's RGB. I don't know. Let's see if they got pictures of it lit up. That's what the back plate looks on the inside. I mean, this looks like a diffuser for RGB, but I don't see any wires hooked up to it or anything like that. But we'll see in a second. Maybe the LEDs mount right behind it on the PCB of the card. So we'll see. There's probably a picture of it lit up. Here's pictures of the PCB. This is all Buildzoid type shit. I don't need to go over this. There's the VRMs, there's the GPU, and there's the memory. Looks like they potentially add more memory. What are these connectors for? I guess those are the fan connectors or something like that. Or for RGB. I can't get a big enough close up for that, but yeah, it's for one or the other, RGB or the fan power or something like that. PCB analysis, GPU voltage is 7-phase managed by, okay, they're talking about the components of the board. Test setup. So they use an Intel CPU, running at 5 gigs. Oh, they got a dark flash DLX 22 case. That's a case that I like. That I was kind of interested in building. They're like, although I don't know if that one's MATX only. I like to have a case that I could fit an ATX motherboard in as well. But I don't remember if I know most of the nice little dark flash cases, the little mesh cases they have are only MATX. But they made an ATX one. But like one of the other guys was saying, I prefer the compact ATX cases, the ATX cases that don't take up a lot of space. So yeah, this is not one. This doesn't look like one of those compact cases. Well, that's an MATX board in there. I'm guessing that's an MATX board. I might be wrong. I'm only going by because no, that's an ATX board. That's 4 memory slots. I thought I saw only 2 memory slots there, but that looks like 4. So yeah, if that's an ATX case right there, that's a big old case. So that's not one of the smaller compact cases. So let's see. Let's go. What do I want to look at? Let's just look at what's a game a lot of people play. Battlefield 5, I guess. I'll just look at Battlefield 5. I'm just gonna look general. I don't play any of these games, so I don't play a lot of games. So I have a 1080p monitor, so of course I'm gonna be interested in 1080p. More the gamers with money, and people with money, and people have better setups to me, you're gonna be using 1440. But hey, they're side by side right here, so I can look at them together. Let's see. On 1080, it's 131 frames per second. Well, 132 rounded up, and that is beating out the 2060 Super by a little bit. But you know, it's supposed to be a next gen card. They got the same name. I mean, I know the 2060 is called the Super card, but it's still 2060, and this is a 3060. And you know, with the same name, it should be many levels better for the same price than a old 2060 Super. But it's not. You see, it's really close, and even in 1440p, it's close. It's like the same. It's like the performance is close. I don't like that. It should be a lot better, and no one's gonna get these cards for $330. If you do, you're lucky. Go to the next thing. Power consumption, temperatures and fan noise. I'm gonna look at that because this is the MSI card, and I was talking about the MSI cards doing a good job cooling. So are good. They have it compared here to the other 3060 cards they reviewed: the EVGA 3060, the Palette 3060, and the Zotac 3060. And let me see, at idle, so it says it right here, at idle and under load, gaming load, the noise level on the MSI card is much much lower, and the temperature is much lower, and the fan RPM is much lower than all the other cards. That just shows, even with the plastic backplate, their card does a better job. It's built better than the other cards. I'm not talking about the PCB and electrical and all that stuff, but all the stuff that they put together to, you know, tame the heat and the noise is implemented better than all the other cards. So that's another reason why I like the MSI cards. And then they got these like Gamers Nexus type graphs. Let me see if they got any pictures of it running, like well, maybe in the, they got like a what is it called, finished looks build part of the review sometimes. I wonder if they have that in here so I can see what the card looks like lit up, but I don't see it here. Power consumption, cooler. They usually keep those for their case reviews on TechPowerUP. So you don't see that here. Power consumption. Let's see the power consumption. Idle power consumption. Who cares about idle power consumption? It's MSI is not great with idle power consumption on their video cards or their motherboards for some reason. But let's see gaming power consumption. So yeah, I was right, somewhere between, well, that's not the same as TDP, but it's close. But it's pulling 177 watts gaming, whereas my 2060 Super pulls around the same. So they're about the same, and it's a little faster, so that's good. But it's an 8 nanometer card, and the 2060 Super is a 12 nanometer card. It should be much better, in my opinion. So, but it has 4 more gigs of RAM, so I gotta take that into account. So it's good. It's nothing great, but it's good. And it doesn't get, it runs cool and quiet, and it has good performance. It's not a bad card. It's not a bad GPU. My only complaint is it's not good value. It's just expensive, and all this is going to be overpriced. What is this? Power consumption, VSync 60 hertz. 60 hertz, get out of here. Don't care. Power consumption spikes up to 193 for the Ampere card. 2060 Super, around the same. There's like it's crazy how it's a different architecture, and you know, has different memory bus bandwidth, and there's just these bunch of differences, but it's so close to the 2060 Super and everything. It's like my card just got released again today, but you could get it at a new super high price. Efficiency and clock speeds. Let me see. Energy efficiency. So it is performance per watt. So yeah, it does pretty good performance per watt. I remember the 1660 Ti was the king for a while till these other cards came out. But man, these RDNA 2 cards, I'm surprised. I never thought AMD was going to beat NVIDIA in performance per watt, but they do with the RDNA 2 cards. So NVIDIA better watch out because RDNA 3 might be even that much better, which is bodes well for us. But we'll see. That's a long time from now, RDNA 3. You can't even get an RDNA 2 card right now. So let me turn my face off before I start coughing on the screen here. The frequencies and all that stuff. Go on to the next thing. Overclocking and power limits. Value and conclusion. All right, let's go to conclusion. The MSRP of the MSI RTX 3060 Gaming X Trio is unknown. At the current market conditions, we expect it to sell for at least $470. See, that's what I mean. It's like a 2060 Super, which I said you could get for like $400 or $420. Now this is like the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a 2060 Super, but you got to pay. They're expecting $470 for you to pay for that. Man, we know it's going to be more than that. You're going to be lucky to find one of these for that much money. It's just not a good deal. But anyway, here's the pros. 26%, 20% faster than an RTX 2060, faster than an RTX 2070, extremely quiet, fantastic temperatures, out of the box, efficient, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, idle stop for the fan, which every GPU, every video card should have now. Very good overclocking potential. I don't care. It has a boost clock. Backplate included. Yeah, but it's a plastic backplate. You shouldn't get a thumbs up for that. Every video card that costs over $300 should have a backplate. You know, if you buy a video card for a case that has a tempered glass window or acrylic, if you're super poor, you want a backplate for aesthetics. You know, unless you like the look of a PCB with all the the board level components there. Hardware accelerated ray tracing, of course. Support for HDMI 2.0, AV1 decode, DLSS, and I'm hoping DLSS 2, of course. What else? All these other features, PCI Express 4. That's something over the 2060 Super, PCI Express 4. But man, there's all these problems with PCI Express 4, and it's not even needed, but whatever. 8 nanometer production process. Why that gets a plus? I guess it's a plus. Minuses: pricing unlikely to hold for more than a few hours. Yep, that's true. Probably not enough stock to satisfy demand. Gains over last generation, smaller than that for other Ampere cards. True. And why would that be though? I guess the memory bus, or like maybe they really trimmed the amount of CUDA cores on it. I don't know. I could go look at the numbers and stuff, but it only matters what the frames per second is. That's what really matters in the end. You could look at how many CUDA cores it has. You could look at the memory bus. You could look at all this stuff, man. But performance trumps all, right? So yeah, and then they go over, and of course, it's highly recommended, regardless of how much the price is going to be on the street. It's highly recommended because TechPowerUP highly recommends everything. Let's look at the Zotac card. Now, this would be a nice card for a white build. Now, if you could find this card for a white build, now my brother has a 1070 Ti Zotac card, and it's running fine for him. But from what I understand, from what I hear, and Zotac's is usually cheaper than some of the other cards. They don't use the best components. I don't really hear a lot of failure rates on them, so I guess that doesn't matter too much. But I think this card has pretty bad numbers compared to the MSI card we just looked at, as far as like temperature and all that stuff. But like for aesthetics and stuff and price, they're usually not. They're usually like EVGA. The cards aren't that expensive, and for a white build, this card would be pretty nice. So you can see the estimated price here, $420. Let's go. Let's look at this real quick. Architecture, yeah, I don't care. We already know all about that. Pictures and teardown, and it's a lot smaller. You could use this card in so many other builds. This is so much smaller than the MSI card. Some people like those big bold cards, and that big bold card cools the card well. It's super quiet, so yeah, I can't complain about three fan design when it's doing what three fans should do over two fans. It's cooling things and keeping things more quiet. But this, like I said, it's not a super high TDP card, so this shouldn't be too bad. The back's not too overdone. I wish they had some pictures of the MSI card like lit up. I would like to see what it looks like lit up and stuff. But whatever. I don't know why this, unless somebody else knows, like why is the PCB exposed right here, and why is this area right here exposed right here? I guess to facilitate the connection of the PCI Express power. Did I have a picture of that? Like a side view of the card? So I can see that? Of course not. Over here. Yeah, I guess that's where, no. Oh, man, I can't tell. Oh, look at this. 800 grams. That's, the other card was what, 480 grams? 1480 grams? This one's almost half that. This card is half the weight of the MSI card. So yeah, this card won't need a support bracket. This card. There it is. All right, so yeah, that is a little breakout for the 2 8-pins. I still don't know why it needs 2 8-pins. Let me see. I think from one 8-pin you get 150 watts of power, and from the PCI Express slot that should be another 75, so that's 225 watts. That's even above the peak for this card based on the peak graph that I was looking at before, which was 193 watts for the 3060. So I don't see why. I guess they're playing it safe. They give everybody the 2 8-pins. You should be able to get away with one 8-pin, but plug them both in. Somebody's got to make a version of this card that has only one 8-pin, but whatever. Oh yeah. If you do the math, they're saying here it's rated up for 375 watts of power draw. Like I said, 150 watts from each 8-pin, and 75 watts from the PCI Express slot. So yeah, that adds up to 375. So the math checks out. Let's look at the picture of the shroud here. Get a look at that blue, yellow, and black cable right there. Gotta hide that. That ruins the look. Looks like they got some black silicone thermal pads on this one. This is a pretty heavily manufactured heatsink. I mean, I don't see a lot of heat pipes or anything like that. Man, there's a lot of levels to this heatsink, man. They really went in on like these fins are like so. I don't know. Looks like a lot of work went into that, but still doesn't cool as good as the other card. But I don't know about these thermal pads. Just looking at them, I mean, it's hard to judge. But just from the view, I don't know if that looks like the greatest thermal pad. I don't know how much heat's transferring on that, but whatever. It's still a good-looking card, and I'm sure it gets the job done. Pictures and teardown. We already looked at the performance. Temperature and fan noise is the Zotac card is, wow, not bad compared to the it's better than the palette and the EVGA cards. It's only bested by the MSI card, so it's good. And it's fan RPM is 1700 on when it's running things. That's a little high for me. I'd probably be able to hear that and be annoyed by that. I'd prefer the 1229 of the MSI card. I that alone would make the difference in a video card purchase for me. I'd probably get the MSI card. I know the MSI card's a big boat with 3 fans and it's over 30 centimeters long and it weighs almost twice as much as this Zotac card. But for a white build, especially an MATX white build, this Zotac card would fit the build just fine. But just like if you are like really into quiet, like I am, cool and quiet, the MSI card destroys the Zotac card. And here's the fan noise in dBA. Let's see, the Zotac card, 32 dBA. Everybody here, you know, the decibel levels and all that stuff. Everything affects us. Everybody different. Like some people are annoyed by high frequencies. Some people hate to hear the drone over low frequency. Like my power supply, my Seasonic power supply's fan has a very low frequency rumble to it. That's the only thing, and I have to listen real close. That's the only thing I can hear on my computer. And I got all these Arctic fans and the fans on my MSI card spinning. They're around 1,000 RPM, probably a little less until things, you know, start kicking off. And I don't hear any of those. But I do, if I listen real close, I can hear the power supply fan. So yeah, I don't like that. I like Seasonic power supplies, but I don't know, man. I wish they, I wish they, it would have been flawless if they had a better fan in there. And I could put it on a mode where that fan, like it's a hybrid mode where that fan won't actually do anything unless it heats up. But I'm a stickler for having a fan spinning. I don't like my PSU sitting there, you know, transforming AC current to direct current without a fan cooling those the transformer and all those, you know, all those parts. I got off track, started talking about my power supply, but that's what I do. This is a bad YouTube channel. That's what I do. So yeah, let me go with temperature and fan noise. Cooler performance comparison. Cooler performance comparison to what? Oh, the other 3060 cards. This is cool. I like TechPowerUP. I mean, they go deep in testing all this stuff. And yeah, they're showing it right here. The comparison, the temperature at a given sound level and at 170 watts being pulled. They're showing that the thermal solution for the MSI card is superior. It's huge. It's 1,480 grams of metal and plastic and parts and fans and all that stuff. So it should be better, and it is better. And that by a whopping almost 20 Celsius above the palette card. So yeah, I diss MSI a lot, and I diss them for having plastic backplates on their cards. But these lower TDP cards, they don't skimp on the cooling for them. So yeah, that's actually really good. And it says at 170 watts, so that's got to be under load. I mean, if I'm reading this right, if it's pulling 170 watts, you know, that's like a gaming load. And if it's running at only 51 Celsius while it's doing that, if this is right, that is really, really good. So if you could get this MSI card, like if you were upgrading to a 3060 and you could get this MSI card and you like the quiet computer and you could fit this thing into your case, that's a good card to have. Let me move on to the next. Man. Value and conclusion. Let's see. Pretty much all the same pluses and minuses as the other cards. Looks like there's a few more minuses though. Second power connector is useless. Why are they saying the second power connector is useless? Are they pretty much saying? Let me see if it got highly recommended. Yeah, it is. Let me go back to the power consumption to see if they talk about the second power connector. Because even I was talking about before, it's like, is it necessary? I want to see if they go into that anywhere in the review. Maybe in the teardown when they're showing the power connectors. Let me see. This card has two 8-pin power inputs. The configuration is rated up for 375 watts of power draw. Due to the recessed design. Plugging in the power connector is incredibly difficult. Isn't there a better solution? Okay. But yeah, but the retention clips are at the top. How can it? It's not that hard, and you only got to do it once. It's incredibly difficult, or is it just difficult? I don't know, man. That seems like a little bit of hypercritical right there. Let me see. How would that look, though? Yeah, you would have that running right in front of this GeForce logo. But anyway, that's enough of the Zotac card. It'd be nice for white builds. It's kind of inferior to the MSI card, but EVGA card, the same, the same ugly EVGA. I mean, it's not ugly to some people, but all the EVGA cards look the same. It's kind of boring actually, but the prices aren't bad. Same thing, estimated at $420. MSRP is $330. So again, it's not going to be a good value. You know, it's a memory bus is smaller than the 2060 Super, but it doesn't matter. The performance amounts to the same as a 2060 Super, even faster than a 2060 Super based on the graphs. So if you were thinking about upgrading to a touring card, and now you can get this Ampere card instead. A lot of people are bad-mouthing this card because there's nothing to get excited about. It's still a good value if you could find it for a decent price and you have an older card. But that's the thing, man. Most people that have a good Pascal card and a good touring card, this is, yeah, a Darsh, man. A Darsh. I can't afford any of these either, but it's fun to look at, right? You're into. I assume you're watching this because you're into computers, and it's it's fun, right? It's something to do. But yeah, it's not that fun when you can never afford any of the parts, or you. I do a lot of window shopping and imagine, like if I was building my next computer, because it is an investment. You pay a lot. Like when I built my computer and stuff, like NVMe drives were not that cheap. So I paid a lot of money for my NVMe drive, and they're so much cheaper now. But yeah, it's more fun when you can afford you could potentially afford the parts that you're looking at. So what do you currently have in your build, if you don't mind me asking? What are you currently running as far as your discrete video card? Just curious to see because I've got a 2060 Super and I'm happy with my 2060 Super. I want to know, like, what do you have and are you happy with it? If you're still watching. If not, I'll continue on. We are looking at the EVGA card. Let me go to the pictures and tear down. Yep, that's an EVGA card with a backplate. A lot of the low end EVGA. I know my 960 didn't have a backplate, but hey, they got backplates now. Look at that. Now that red line, man, I'm sorry, man. I guess I could be considered a computer enthusiast. So we're allowed to nitpick. That is, you're gonna have the whole card blacked out, and you're gonna add this stupid red line to it. What if people don't have red as part of their build aesthetic? Don't do that, man. This pisses people off. They should have known. Is EVGA the people that made who made the video card with the what is it, the 3080 with the red lip? Was that EVGA? They didn't learn from that? That's bad. Anyway, I don't know if people agree, but that shouldn't be there. That's looks like every VGA card. One 8-pin. So yeah, finally found a card that only has one 8-pin. And this card's probably light too. It weighs 720 grams, so this is heavier than the Zotac card, but way, way lighter than the MSI card. Some more pictures. This card has one 8-pin power input. This configuration is rated up for 225 watts of power draw. Like we talked about before, 150 watts from the 8-pin, 75 watts from the PCI Express slot. More than enough, because this card peaks at 193 watts, according to the graph I looked at before. And that was for the MSI card, which has more fans, more RGB, so it's going to pull even more than this card could theoretically pull. So that's more than enough juice for this card. Let's look at the heatsink. Yep, there's a lot less going on with this heatsink than the Zotac card. Like the Zotac card looked like they really they really they really engineered the hell out of that heatsink. This one's a little bit more simple, and we'll see if that pans out with the temperature tests. I don't know why they're circling that. Is it not? The VRM circuitry circled in red is cooled by the airflow of one of the fans right above. Two chokes sit directly on the heat pipes, for both of which VGS placed a thermal pad to ensure good heat transfer. The backplate's made out of metal. Hey, a metal backplate. There you go. That's good. Circuit board analysis. I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to go to the temperature and fan noise again, because this is the EVGA card. Yeah, this one has the fastest spinning. It takes the fastest RPMs to keep it at 35 dBA, and it runs as hot or hotter than most of the other cards, except for the palette card, which runs the hottest. So yeah, that's not great, but I'm sure the EVGA card will cost less than the other cards. What else? Now, this is TechPowerUP. I'm sure it's got a editor recommendation. Oh, it didn't get an, very rare. It didn't get an editor's recommendation. Surprise. All right, the palette card. I'm just gonna skim over this palette card. Pretty much beat this dead horse. Let's look at the palette card. Oh, this has got a different look to it. Same thing, estimated $420. Pictures and teardown. Huh. It's got an interesting look to it. At least it looks different. And the pass-through on the backplate allows more air to pass through than a lot of the other backplates on a lot of the other cards. So that's good. At least it's got a functional backplate. But doesn't matter. Temperature is really bad compared to the other cards. So it's either, well, we'll see on the side of the heatsink that mates with the GPU and the VRMs must not be a well-engineered piece. So it looks like it's lighter than all the other cards at 585. Yeah, it's probably just a lightweight aluminum heatsink. Not much going on to it. We'll see soon. But it's a pretty good looking card. I don't know if anything lights up on it or if it has any RGB. I hate where the power goes into, but yeah, these cards have, a lot of these Ampere cards have short PCBs, or else you wouldn't be able to have a pass through like this right here. The PCB is probably really short. We'll see in the teardown videos. So here's the heatsink. Yeah, it looks pretty lightweight. Yeah, it looks pretty lightweight. Yeah, this is look at that thing, man. Compared to the other cards, compare the engineering on the Zotac card compared to this card. It'd probably take a tenth of the time to design this heatsink compared to what they did on the Zotac card. So, and here's the backplate. Wait, is it made out of metal? It's made out of plastic. So yeah, here's your little cheap plastic backplate. Got a little honeycomb design on it. And we already looked at the temperatures and fan noise for this guy. It wasn't so great, and now we know why. It's just got a cheap heatsink. Now this one better not get an editor's recommendation. Good, it didn't. Pricing unlikely to hold. Probably not enough stock to satisfy demand. Cooler fairly weak. Fans are loud. Fans are loud, yeah. So this is a card I would definitely not consider, and I wouldn't buy. Yeah, I don't know what it looks like lit up. They didn't really. Yeah, I know I was talking about the 3060s, but you know what? Here's the new 46172 driver that just came out. I don't need it because I looked at the all the fixed issues. None of them pertain to me. So you know, whatever the new NVIDIA driver breaks, I don't need to be a part of it because it doesn't fix anything that's a problem for me. So I'll lay off that for a little while. I'll probably wait for a few more video GeForce driver releases before I update, unless I get bored, and then I'll update the driver sometimes. And if I experience a new problem, I'll go out of my way to fix it, and I'll share the results on YouTube like I like to do. If I resolve a problem, I like to share it with everybody. So before I cut off and go eat something, let me go look at this Fractal Design Meshify 2 compact review, because I love this case. I mean, it's rare that I look at something that I like, that I just like almost all of the above about it. And let me go over some of the things about this case. Now, my top video on my channel is about my case. You know, it's a trash video like all my videos and stuff, but it helped a lot of people, so that's a good thing. And I do like my case. I like the way it looks. I like how easy it was to build in it. I like how quiet everything is. I like, you know, it has the right amount of space as far as building inside, but it also is compact where it doesn't have a big footprint. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's like, it's not like a big piece of furniture. It's like really as compact as you could get for ATX while still being roomy to fit whatever you need in it, you know, without going like overboard, without like getting one of those super long aircraft carrier video cards. But everything else fits, especially for an air-cooled person like me. Basically, it's perfect for me. Quiet, doesn't take up a lot of space, fits ATX components. You know, I don't want to worry about, does this fit, does that fit? Fits an ATX motherboard, fits an ATX power supply. I'm done. I'm good to go. 140 millimeter fans. That's exactly what I wanted. So I love my Meshify C case. I like it. And the price was not that bad. In this case right here, the Meshify 2 Compact, the successor to it, is only slightly taller and slightly longer in length. And it improves on some of the annoyances of the original, which aren't many, of the original Meshify C. So let me see if I could go over that real quick. I'm not going to go over the whole review because a lot of people are familiar with Meshify C's already. So let me get to the parts that matter. So I don't know why I like this, but I like that this, I don't know what you want to call it, this exhaust grill kind of backs away from the plane of the rear of the case by a couple of millimeters. Why does that matter to me? It shouldn't matter, but if you ever noticed, the closer you put your fan grill, I mean, the design right here doesn't let a lot of air get through. I wish they would have made this a little bit more porous. I don't like that. But when you have the fan right up against the thing it's cooling, it seems to make a little bit more turbulence, and it seems to make a little bit more noise. For example, how can I word this? I'm gonna word this poorly. If you have a 120 millimeter fan just blowing, just sitting on your desk, and it's turning at 1,000 RPM, you know, you're gonna hear a whoosh sound. But if you put that right against a heatsink tower and it hits those fins, like the closer it is to those fins, you hear it even more. So even that little bit of space, I think, helps. I mean, it's still hitting flat surfaces. It's not like perpendicular fins on a tower cooler, so it's still gonna make a whooshing sound. But I don't know, little things like that. At least they tried. So yeah, man, I know I'm talking about little things, but I'm a nerd, man. That's what I do. Now, this is one of the improvements. You can just it's a hinged front filter. You don't have to reach down at the bottom and pop that tab out to get it out. You just open it like a door, and then you can pull it off the hinge right here, and then you could take out the nylon filter that's behind this primary filter. So it's like this mesh front. I know it's just called a mesh front, but it acts as a filter too. But it has another additional filter behind it, and you can take it out if you wanted to. I think that's great. So here's a picture of it. There's the front filter, and there's the fine nylon filter that slides into it. And the default configuration that they sell the case with has my preferred layout. Instead of three 120s in the front like most people like, I prefer dual 140s. That's the way I have mine set up. I like 140s. They're quieter. I like 140s better than 120s, man. If they, they start making 200 millimeter fans standard for computer cases, I'll like that next too. Because usually the bigger fans are quieter, and they do a better job. They do a good job cooling air at lower RPMs. I like that. So I like 140s over 120s. I don't know if these are 3 pins or 4 pin. I prefer PWM over, using a voltage fluctuation to alter the RPM of the fans. But whatever it is, you can keep them if you like them, or you can take them out if you don't like them, and you can use them for a cheaper build, like for your kid or something like that. You got some fans for that build. But I like that you can take this. My brain's turned off for a second. What is this thing called? You could take this nylon filter out from the primary filter, and you could just run this. Like, hey, if you want to run this together in the wintertime, run it like that, and then you don't have to clean it as much. There's less dust. But then summertime, you're like, man, I need things to run a little bit cooler. You could take this out. But I looked into it a little bit, and you don't get that much benefit from taking this out. So I'd probably kind of like I'm doing on my Meshify C, where the cooling's really not that bad once you add intake fans, which this already has, where you don't even need to take this filter out. So hey, yeah, your computer stays cleaner longer, just leave the filter in. It's still fine. So, but you have that option if you wanted to. And yeah, here's the front I/O panel is not part of it's not connected to the front panel anymore. It's integrated into the case, the main part of the chassis, which is great. So that's another improvement. You can pull this thing off, which you don't even need to pull this thing off anymore. So, but you can still pull it off if you wanted to. So that's just more options, man. This is just a really good case. Now, I don't like the tinted window. I don't get it. Why do you want to have a tinted window if you have a window? I mean, some people like the look of it, but I would prefer the white case anyway, and the white case usually doesn't have a tinted window. But you could get the tinted window if you want. There's the other side. Let's see. There's where the power supply goes. I think there's some improvements down there too. I don't like this. I think the honeycomb design of the original Meshify C allows more air to pass through than some of the ventilation in the back of the new version. But that ain't too bad. I almost don't want to have open ventilation in the back here, because I feel like you can control the air pressure better with your openings in the front and in the back, like the exhaust in the back here. If you have too many openings around, too many how can I word this? Too many like exhaust like areas like this, you lose control of like how the air is going through your case. Like if you want it to, some of it's going to come out here. You want your high pressure to kind of force the cool air from the front of the case to the back of the case, and ideally you'd want it all going like in through the front here, and then everything going through the back here. I'm not wording it well. I just would like, sometimes you can manipulate the flow of air pressure better if you have less open spots. That's what I was trying to say. And I didn't do a good job of saying it, but that's what I do. There's the top. Looks nice, just like the Meshify C. I'm assuming you can still do, has a nylon filter on top, which I guess, so it has double filters on top now. You know, so that's not a bad thing. Yeah, and it looks like, just like with the let me look at the top of my Meshify C. Yeah, you can put a 140s up here or 120s, but it looks like there's a little bit more obstruction here for 140s than there would have been for the my Meshify C case, the original one. So so you know, not perfect, but still, I really don't think it affects cooling. They added a USB Type C to the front, so it's pretty much the same thing as the Meshify C. The only thing that's different is they got this Type C connector in the front, which is good. I like that, you know. I wish I mean, I always wanted like another Type A, like a third Type A USB connector in the front, but two's enough. And they got a USB-C in the front, and they don't have a hard drive LED, but the power LED is somewhere behind this front grill right here. If you really want to see a hard drive activity, you could just plug your power LED into the hard drive LED, and you could watch it blink like that. But that's up to you. And some people, you don't even gotta plug in the power LED if you don't like the light in the front. It doesn't bother me because I've masked that LED from polluting the inside of my case. So it's blue in the front, but it doesn't leak into my case because I have that whole front blocked off. You can see that in one of my other videos when I'm talking about RGB. Here's the bottom, and this is one thing I really like about the Fractal cases. And Mike reviewed it. Mike from Mike's Unboxing just reviewed a case not too long ago, and I hate the bottom filter for the power supply filter. This one, you don't have to go crazy. You just slide it in, slide it out, clean it, and slide it back in. That's the way I like it. I really like that, and it looks like the feet on a new version looks like it makes the case stand a little bit more clearance from the ground than the Meshify C, which was already good enough. I'm looking at my Meshify C right now. It's about, I don't know, 2 centimeters off the counter or the shelf, whatever you want to call it. And this one looks like these feet look like they're a little, make it stand a little taller. So yeah, there it is. You pull it out, clean it, you put it back in. Easy, you know. I like low maintenance, you know. I just want to play around my computer. I don't spend too much time cleaning it. It is therapeutic sometimes and stuff, but we're busy, right? We got to work. We got to clean the house. We got to do things, right? So I don't want to spend too much time doing it. The quicker the better. Closer look inside. Yeah, there was another thing, and this, I don't know if this shows up well, but they have a grommet right here. That's not there on the original Meshify C, and that is annoying. So that's another reason why I like this case better than mine. Just for that right there, I'm like, man, that was one thing that bugged me about the Mesh. And I wish they would have put a grommet in the back too, somewhere. So if you want to pass through stuff through the back, but they didn't add that. But they did add this one down here, and that's big. And one thing I don't like about the Meshify C white cases, and some people like it because of the contrast, but like some white cases, like Dark Flash and the 4000D from Corsair, they paint the inside of the case. They paint the inside of the case white. So even on the white case for Fractal Design, they paint the inside black. And when you have the inside white, everything reflects, and it's easy to see everything inside. It's like, you know, there's no dark shadows in there. Sometimes dark shadows are good. It hides cabling and stuff like that. But if you do a good job cable management, you want everything to, you know, be bright and appear. And, you know, you're going for complete white aesthetic. Like you got a white motherboard, you know, you got like one of them Gigabyte Vision motherboards in there. You got a white video card. You got a white tower cooler or a white AIO or a radiator, CLC, whatever the hell you want to call it, and white fans and stuff. It's better to have the interior of the case white as well. So yeah, that's just a minor complaint. That'd be cool if the white version they started painting inside white, but they're not going to do that. And I guess they made some changes into the back, but really the back wasn't even a problem for me with the Meshify C. Looks like they added some, I don't know if my Meshify C, I haven't been in the back in a while. I don't know if my Meshify C has this channel right here to route cables, but hey, that's there, and this is right here, and it's kind of like, it's even more recessed right here, which I love that about it. Like I said, this is a really, really good case. And like, I love my case, and this one's even better than mine. So if you're buying a new case, don't buy my case. Don't buy the Meshify C unless the price is really, really low. Buy this one. There's the hard drive cage. That's the 3.5-inch hard drive cage. Just take that out. I know Steve from Gamers Nexus and some other people, they still like to, there's some people that are using mechanical hard drives. Get rid of that. You don't need that no more. It looks like the panel right here is looks like 2 sections now. That's a good thing. It's not. It's just one big section on the Meshify C, but in the new version, it looks like it looks like 2 panels. So if you want to add 120, you just take this one panel out. And actually, you just take that panel out, and it looks like there's enough thickness there for a radiator and its fan. So that's probably why they did that. So yeah, that's enough. Some people were 3D printing panels for the original Meshify C, so it would not leave this open, yet also let you fit a fan in there, because you know you don't want to have this big gap there. But that's what you were, you know, left with if you had the original Meshify C. So let me stop looking at that. The power supply bay in the rear is quite spacious, so take your pick. Yeah, it fits power supplies. All right, what are they talking about? The PCI Express. Let's see if they talk about some stuff that I don't know about here. The 7 expansion slots in the main compartment are easy to access because of the thumb screws. Okay. The ceiling. This is a nice thing. You can take the top off. Yeah, you can't do that with the Meshify C. That's nice. You could take the top off. But I wonder, on the top of the Meshify C, there's a nice channel up here where you can hide an LED strip. That's how I illuminate my case in some of my other videos. It's a hidden LED strip. You can't see it. I wonder if there's a channel up there still, so you could still do that. Let me see. There's 2 grommets. Let me light up my case so I can see. These 2 grommets in the top. Does my case have that? Yeah, these 2 grommets right here are on the Meshify C also. So that hasn't changed. Panel connectors. LEDs and switches, HD audio. You probably won't be using that connector, or you will be using that connector. What's this? That's probably for the front USB-C port right here, and this is probably for USB, your A type USB connectors in the front. So that's what that all is. Assembly and finished looks. Like I said, it's a little bigger, a little taller, a little longer than my case, but for an ATX case, that's still compact. That's still compact. I like that. Yeah, you can mount SSDs in there. I'm just M.2, so I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. But you can make that look clean too if you want. Have your SSD hanging in the back there. I got no room for that because I got my, I don't know, what do I have back there? Fan controller, RGB splitter. I got all these gadgets back there. Finished looks. Thermal stress test. They did the thermals. And the thermals are good. I'm not going to go over all that. They're good. I have a Meshify C, I'm telling you. Unless you have super high powered parts and you put your fans in stupid spots and put things in stupid spots, or don't have a good fan curve set up, the the cases. The only thing bad about the Meshify C and possibly with the successor is you need to utilize front intake fans, which this one comes with. So once you have front intake fans on the Meshify C, or this case, it's fine. Value and conclusion. They liked it. They liked it, and I like it too. So yeah, that's all. That's it. I just wanted to look at these 3060 cards. Nothing to get excited about. If they were selling them for under $400 and people can actually buy them and people can actually build computers again with mid-range cards again, that'd be a good thing because I'd be happy for other people. But there's nothing to be happy about. Nobody's able to build a computer with a discrete graphics card right now without getting ripped off. And that's just the sad truth. But at least there are some other things. Motherboard prices haven't gone up. Storage prices aren't so bad. Memory prices are okay. There's some good options out there for coolers. Yeah, cases, fans, memory, cooling. Everything else is within reason if you shop hard. But one of them, and CPUs are also really not that great right now. There's not really good deals on CPUs. But yeah, CPUs and GPUs, probably two of the most important parts for a enthusiast computer. They're not great deals right now. So yeah, it's not a fun time. It's pretty much a bad time to build a computer. But it is what it is. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I don't have anybody come on stream and talk to me except for Adarsh, just more doom and gloom and blues that he can't afford it. But thanks for watching if you did, and I'll talk to everybody in Mike's Discord. I'm gonna go eat something and joke around with everybody in there, talk about nerd stuff and all that, and work on my health for the rest of the day. Got a job interview coming up next week, and making moves and staying alive. Yesterday was my birthday, and I'm still alive. So thanks for that. So everybody have a good day.